All right, welcome in. Happy Tuesday, a $5 Tuesday, in fact, here at WagerTalk.com. It's also a Prez free zone here on the best betting show ever. That's right. It's me. It's Art the Caesar. And that's what you guys get here today. And we got a lot to go over. Of course, Major League Baseball deadline has come and gone. Crazy. I would say 72 hours in Major League Baseball. Started Saturday night with Scooble to the Dodgers. The whole world is screaming that it's fixed. It's all a conspiracy, so we don't have baseball next year. But are there any places we can actually make money now that everything in the dust has settled? We'll take a look at the latest in our prediction markets here on what's going on in Major League Baseball future markets. NFL, we're going to talk NFC East today. We're going to preview that conference for you, or division rather. Art and I got a couple of more college football win totals. We'll run through the full Major League Baseball slate. And as always, Art the Caesar, we like to first either wallow in misery or celebrate how the books lost last night. But what did they do on the board last night?
Well, you got to start with the Yankees losing, and then obviously the Dodgers have lost again. What is that, like 4 in a row for them? Couple of upsets too early in the slate. The earlier games, there were definitely a lot of upsets, so that's always good. Always breaking up a bunch of the parlays. But yesterday the focus was really on what was going on in that trade deadline, because I think a lot of people were really focused on that, kind of maybe playing the futures market a little bit, seeing where numbers would move, and that was really the fun of what was going on yesterday.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy here. Yankees, all of a sudden, Garcia Jr. comes in. They can hit the ball now. The Cubs continued their winning ways at home. Dodgers continued their losing ways. So, yes, it's going to be interesting to see how the markets react over the next couple of days. Scoop will going tonight. We'll get to that game. I think that's going to be fascinating. I still don't understand what the hell Toronto was doing at the trade deadline. But okay, they ended up winning last night, even though Bieber gave up 10 hits. They left 14 guys on base, and Houston loses 3-1 somehow. I have no idea how that happened. But today's sharp plays here. I believe we do have one WNBA game on the slate tonight. Some Major League Baseball. What are the sharp looks like today here, Art?
Yeah, and they did bet that one WNBA game. It's the tempo game. They took the over 168, now 169.5. 3 teams are on in baseball as far as sharp plays go. They took the Orioles, they took the Braves, and they took the Guardians.
Interesting. How about the Guardians saying, enough's enough. Let's get some bats in here, making all sorts of trades. They go out and they get Foster Griffin to that. Well, listen, if you can't score runs, you might as well prevent everyone else from scoring runs. So
they were very under the radar, Joe. Yeah, they were very under the radar with what they did. Yep.
They were making a ton of last-minute moves there, trying to bolster that lineup and the pitching staff. So kudos to them. We'll see. And listen, even Minnesota making moves, I think, was pretty funny when it all came down to it. But that was yesterday. Today, new day. Only 8 games last night, full 15 here today. Art, we got to come up with a parlay of the day here. So which one of these games tonight are you looking at?
A team you just talked about. I'm going with the Twins. I know they're on the road, but they're playing the Royals, who are awful, and it's Joe Ryan. So give me the Twins minus 140.
Twins minus 140. I'm going to go Logan Henderson and Milwaukee here tonight, who crapped the bed last night again against Pittsburgh. It should be a pretty good pitcher's battle as well. Henderson taking on Jones, but I like Henderson, the lefty, to mow him down there in Pittsburgh. I do think they bounce back here in Milwaukee in a big way. Minus 140 right now, which I think is a pretty good price for them. All right, we got a 2-team parlay there, Art. Let's talk some predictive markets, because now that the dust is settled, everybody's going to be where they are. Boston looks like they are just desperate to try to prove that they know what they're doing. I don't know that they know what they're doing. Rauschman was a very interesting trade, except I'm looking for the market that tells me whether or not he's actually going to be healthy over the next 2 weeks, because likely he won't be. So let's take a look, though, big picture-wise. We said we'd come back to it. Pro Baseball Championship, World Series champion here. Dodgers, 39 cents. Just they actually went back a little bit. I'm guessing that's because everyone else also made some moves there. Yankees still sitting in second. Milwaukee's right behind them. Boston now, obviously making moves. I'm wondering where the Guardians are on this list here. They are do you see no? Oh, there they are. 1.7 cent. Nobody likes the Guardians. That's interesting here. Cubs, Tampa. So it's once again, Art, it's to me the only value is in fading the Dodgers here, not in backing them. But Yankees, did they do enough in your eyes? Milwaukee, Boston, still plenty of value here with some of these other teams because, again, we're basically looking for the two teams playing for the National League pennant. So is it the Dodgers and who, Art? Because whoever that team is, they are going to be at a much better price point if it's Atlanta than 6 cents right now. I mean, if you go down to Philadelphia, 6 cents. Whoever they're taking on in the National League pennant with a trip to the World Series, the price is going to be much better than what you can get right now. The question is, you like the Cubs? You like the Brewers? You like Atlanta? Who do you like here, Art?
Yeah, that's the question. You said the Phillies. They're very streaky and they're playing great right now. To me, it would be the Cubs. I think if I were going to put my money behind one of the National League teams who could get into that NLCS against the Dodgers, it would be the Cubs. That's who I would look towards. Hopefully they're not peaking too soon right now because, like I said, they go in waves of winning games and losing games, and they're playing good baseball right now. And obviously they beat up on the Dodgers last night, and obviously they'll have a couple more with them here in the next couple days, including Scooble going against them.
Listen, I love two teams as dark horses. Milwaukee certainly one of them, and I think Logan Henderson and Miz. Don't forget, Logan Henderson's a big 6'6" lefty. There, Art throws just as hard as Miz does. Got great stuff. He was hurt. He's now back healthy. Sure, it would have been great for Milwaukee to get Scooble and have those two at the top, but Scooble's a 2-month rental. You're not giving up half of your farm system for a 2-month rental who Scott Boras is going to make a free agent one way or the other, and there's no guarantee signing with you. So I think Milwaukee, and I think my long shot here, Art, is got to be Arizona, who, by the way, won again last night, if you saw there. But call me crazy. I think Arizona got a pretty good shot. They always end up playing their best baseball this time of year. And I see Arizona now at 1 cent. Art, if they keep winning like I think they're going to win here and make it in, win that wild card series in advance, boy, I got to get at least 10 to 15 cents on them, don't I, at some particular point here?
You would think so. Another one who's probably a long shot, which is maybe worth a shot, is the Padres. They made some moves yesterday. They went and finally got some starting pitching. We know how good their bullpen is. Their lineup, despite a couple of trades they made, they still have guys, if you look at the back of their baseball cards, who do what they're supposed to do. Maybe the Padres are a team who has played way better than I thought they would. I thought the Padres were dead under this year when I looked at their win total. Maybe the Padres are one of those sneaky teams way low on the board. What are they at? They got to be at 1 or 2%, right?
They're just above them, I think. They're, if I'm not mistaken, 1.8. And the same thing with Arizona. And again, we're just trying to figure who's going to be left standing. Because at 1 cent, all you need them to do is win a series in the wild card and advance here, and you're going to have them at a much better price. This isn't really about picking the winner. It's about picking who's going to reprice the most to make us the most profit. That's what these predictive markets are all about there, Art. So
I would
And
think
that's
too, Joe.
go ahead.
If you look at like the Padres right now, I think they're maybe like a game out. Even someone like that team, like or even Arizona, who is in right now. But even if those teams just make the playoffs,
Yes,
you'll
you're going to
probably
get
make a
better.
profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, you could wait till their first series and they advance, and then you even get a better price. But we've always talked about the predictive markets is not you got to hang on to the long haul. You might only have to hang on 70 or 80% of your bet, and then hey, you can dump out before the playoffs start. Hey, they got in. That's all that matters. So there's plenty of ways you could play it.
I love it. And one of the other markets, too, because at this point, there's only one way to bet the Dodgers to me, and that's fade them in as many markets as you can because there's too much baseball left. What do we got? 50 games left, Art.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think it was more important for the Dodgers to make sure Skubal didn't face him 3 times in a 7-game series than actually thinking he's going, because they still got a lot of holes. Listen, they are under 500 since July 1st, Art. They lost again last night. This is not a team that has it all figured out like everyone seems to think they are. So I think now would be the time. If you think anybody else has got a shot, now would be the time to take advantage. And one of those markets is who's going to have the MLB best record. And right now, Art, I believe Milwaukee, if they're not tied with the Dodgers, they're right there, like a game better or so than the Dodgers with the best record, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just talking before we came on air. The regular season doesn't mean anything to the Dodgers.
No.
It's about getting their ducks in a row, making sure their pitching's healthy, making sure their lineup is where it needs to be. Milwaukee has proven in these last couple of years they're a regular season team. Doesn't mean they can't go win in the playoffs this year, but they're a regular season team. They win a lot of games in the regular season. They're really good at home, and it's probably more important for them to say, hey, we have the best record in the league. We're the number 1 seed. We have all that type of stuff. That's way more important to Milwaukee than it is to the Dodgers.
Both Milwaukee and the Dodgers, 69 wins right now. The difference is Milwaukee has 1 game less in the loss column there, 43 losses to 44. So if the season ended today, Milwaukee's got the better record there. And yeah, I like it. To tell you the truth, I think this is another one of those. If you look at this, Art, 38 cents that the Dodgers won't have the best record in Major League Baseball. I'll take that plus money. I got no problem with that plus money. And then I'd back it up because I don't think Atlanta, and if I'm not mistaken, Atlanta's got 67 wins. So they're only 2 wins behind the Dodgers and Brewers too. So, wow, call me crazy. I'll take the yes for Atlanta, the yes for Milwaukee, and the no for the Dodgers, Art. Bound to make some money in some combination here. I don't see the Dodgers going, 38 and 12 in their final 50 games. Do you?
No, absolutely not, dude. Just to speak to all the points I said before, the regular season doesn't matter to them. Even if they obviously they won't lose their division, but they don't care where they're placed, what it is. If they're home, they're on the road. It's not going to matter to the Dodgers. The Dodgers is all about winning. It's kind of like it was for the Warriors for a little bit, or some of these great teams when they win a lot. The Patriots, the Chiefs. Doesn't matter where they're seated. They just want to get in and go defend their crown. That's what it's all about.
I agree. Yeah, some markets there. I'm at the fade Dodgers point now because the prices have gotten absurd where all the value, and again, since all I need is Milwaukee and Atlanta at some point, Art, at some point to overtake the Dodgers in wins, and we're cashing that ticket out at some particular point. So, yeah, I think we're fading the Dodgers for the best record in Major League Baseball when it's all said and done. And yeah, I like too many other teams to give them a run for the National League pennant here. I think there's more opportunities to profit in those markets without having to bet the Dodgers right now. All right, Art, coming up, we got some NFL. We're going to talk some college football, Major League Baseball rundown here tonight. We do, however, have some business, I believe, and that's all about watching the Prez in a leotard there on Dancing with the Stars. That's just horrific on so many levels still. But it is $5 Tuesday. What does that mean? That means all best bets, $5 over at WagerTalk.com. Visit your favorite handicapper right now. I have one in Major League Baseball up. I've got a couple of free plays up as well. The Prez has got one. Go down the list, guys. $5 best bets across the board at WagerTalk.com here today. That is what customer appreciation is all about. All right, Art, we got some NFL to talk about. We've done a pretty good job going around the horn with the different divisions here. We've got now, we talked on Friday, I think, with BP, the AFC East. Let's talk the NFC East here, where I think this is a pretty competitive division here, Art. I think this is going to be very interesting when it's all said and done, because the Cowboys are always going to be overvalued. What does Harbaugh have? What can he bring to the table? The Eagles, going to be the Eagles. Listen, Washington is a completely different team than they were a year ago, completely revamped. Same Quinn as the head coach, but I don't know. What are you thinking here in the NFC East this season here, Art?
Yeah, you said it right from the top. It's definitely a competitive division. You got the Eagles who are sitting there at 10.5, but they're juiced to the under. Cowboys 9.5, but they're always overvalued. And then you got Washington and the Giants both sitting at 7.5, both juiced to the over. I think the interesting thing is the back end. Which team do you like better? Do you like Washington more, or do you like the Giants more to get over that win total? Because probably one of them goes over that 7.5. Obviously, the Giants are going to have the advantage with the coaching situation now. I still think Washington has the advantage with the quarterback situation. Dart might turn into a star, but we don't know yet. And you're right. The Eagles are the Eagles, plus 140 to win the division. Price as the favorite, as they should be. But this is definitely a very competitive division, and we know they always play tight within this division.
Yeah, they do. I think you have to decide what is Dallas's defense going to be this year? Because as I go down here, Art, they have everybody back on offense, right? Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, Javonte Williams, I think, rushed for over 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. This is a electric offense that I think was one of the best, obviously, last year in the NFL. I don't see anything changing there. To me, is do they take a step forward in the defensive side? Obviously, they didn't have, traded him away, didn't they? Yeah, that's unfortunate there. But they did get my boy there, Quinnen Williams, from the Jets. And they did actually put some guys around him here. Deron Bland II. We've got some issues in the secondary from a year ago that they addressed in the offseason. I think if this defense lives up to the hype, dare I say, the Cowboys got a pretty good chance. 9.5 wins, not only over the 9.5 wins, but actually winning this division. And they're going to have to get past Philadelphia. They never beat Philadelphia. They beat themselves more than they beat Philadelphia. But I got questions about Philadelphia I'm not sold on either. But I think Dallas has the makings of making a pretty good run here. And dare I say they undervalued maybe?
Interesting to think the Cowboys could ever be undervalued in a market, right, Joe? Because they're always overvalued. Not to mention they added the safety from Ohio State with their first-round pick, Caleb Downs. He should be a star. I think when you look at this division, because like we said, how tight it is, the move would be to look for someone outside of Philadelphia, like you said. Are you looking for the Cowboys? Are you looking for Washington maybe to make that jump again? Maybe the Giants really do overachieve. Maybe you go into the Poly Cauchy markets and you look for a no on Philly. Maybe that's a way to attack this. But yeah, I mean, that Cowboy offense is going to be electric. And you said they're bringing everyone back. They might even be better this year. I mean, another year just together doing their thing. I'm a lifelong Giant fan. We all know that. And I don't love the Cowboys, but Dak Prescott is pretty undervalued for how great he has been. So yeah, maybe it's just look for someone other than Philly, who's really had a stranglehold on this division over the last decade.
Well, Sirianni is 4 years straight now? Gotten 11, at least 11 wins in 4 consecutive seasons now. The roster, though, going to look a little bit different. No Brown anymore to read books on the sideline here. But to me, it's always going to be about now you got a coaching turnover again, right? I mean, they ran Patullo out of Philadelphia there. Sean Mannion now is going to be calling the shots on the offense. They believe that he is the next Kellen Moore that they had there. Of course, now with the Saints, but they believe his offensive acumen is exactly what this team needs. Defensively, we know what they bring to the table here, right? But far too often, it feels like Philly plays with their food. Just not. I didn't think it was a great year for A.J. Hurts last year. I think there is still a lot of finger pointing. I don't know. I mean, what's their win total? 9.5, 10.5, somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, there's a couple 9.5s out there, but it's really more 10.5, and it's just to the under, which shows you that they think, the market is saying this is a 10-7 team. So, when you're sitting there at 10.5 minus 150 to the under, that's pretty big juice towards an under.
Yeah, I think this is going to be interesting, this division, because your Giants, listen, does he make the playoffs in his first year, Harbaugh? Does he have enough? What's his win total? 7.5? Somewhere in that ballpark?
Yep. 7.5, juice to the over too, because the Giants have been very popular in this offseason. Not only their win total, but to make the playoffs at a plus price. Obviously, Harbaugh to win Coach of the Year, all the type of things that are going to equate to a good Giant season.
Well, the one thing we know is they're going to be a hell of a lot more disciplined than they have in years past. The defensive side of the ball has the talent, but they don't know how to play together. So that's going to be interesting to see how that comes along. Offensively, you got to keep Jackson Dart healthy.
That's
right? So can they protect him, number one? And will he grow up here and understand that the more hits he takes, the worse it's going to be for the Giants in his career? I mean, that to me is the big unknown. I think Neighbors is going to suit up, should be ready, although every time somebody says something about Malik, it's always, so when's he going to be ready? Is he ready in November? Is he ready in October? When is he ready? It feels like every time they talk about him, maybe rehab hasn't gone as well as they thought it was going to.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you hear Neighbors week 1, or like you said, you hear Neighbors in November. Obviously, it's all about the quarterback. This league is all about the quarterback. And Kid Dart, you saw some great things out of him last year. You saw some head-scratching things, but that's what you get when you have a young player. You would think Harbaugh will help that. He'll help his decision-making, help him maybe mature more into a pro, teach him to slide, teach him to run out of bounds. But I think the talent's there for him. I think some of their offensive players have some talent. They used their second first-round pick on an offensive lineman for Miami, which should help the offensive line, because the line has been a disaster here the last 3, 4, 5 years. So it's all about keeping him upright. And I think they have enough weapons. Obviously, they got the tight end as well from the Ravens, Likely, who I think could bust out and maybe be a star. So there are a lot of things to like offensively about the Giants. And you mentioned the defense. They just have a stable of young pass rushers.
Yeah.
If they can get these guys on the same page and really get after the quarterback, it's going to look like that team that won Super Bowls, with Justin Tuck and Strahan and Matthias Kiwanuka and Osi Umenyiora. It's going to look like a team like that who just goes and gets the passer.
And I think a lot of this, they got to grow up. Scatterbo, they all going to have to grow up in a hurry there. But Harbaugh, I think, is the right guy at the right time in that spot. All right, Washington's interesting. What a difference a year makes, right? Because last year they went 5-12. Yeesh. Now he's on the hot seat. Good old Dan Quinn. Jaden Daniels took a step back. They couldn't keep him healthy. Who were we watching play quarterback last year? It was hilarious. Marcus Mariota, I think, was watching Mariota play. Yeah, it was not good for Jaden Daniels and that offense last year. But boy, did they get some turnover here, right? Kind of crazy. I mean, really crazy here. So they will have new pieces on the defensive side. They'll have some new pieces on the offensive side. They were just 2024. I remember how they were great, the Commanders, defensively. Not good last year, man. They got, and he's a defensive-minded coach. So to me, I have more faith that defensively they'll be much better. But do we trust Jaden Daniels? That's my question here. And by the way, a new offensive coordinator, no more Cliff Kingsbury. What are we thinking here?
Yeah, you mentioned it. 2024, they were the breakout team. Then they took a real step back. Obviously, a lot of injuries. Your quarterback gets hurt. You're never going to do well. But yeah, Washington is interesting because I've seen so many split opinions on Washington, whether it's no, they're definitely the worst team in the division, or this is a team who can maybe compete to win the division. You're right. I think Quinn will figure out a way to get the defense right. They got a stud first round pick as well, Sonny Styles. I think he'll be able to use him and put him in a lot of versatile situations. It's all about Daniels. I still believe in Daniels. I don't know if I believe in his weapons though. His weapons are not anything that I really love. So Washington, to me, I don't want to be a homer and say that they are the worst team, but I think it really is a toss-up between them and the Giants. Obviously, the odds reflect that. They're also at 7.5 wins, juiced to the over a little bit. Basically, they're being priced as the same team as the Giants, but I think they're right there. They're probably, a 7 to 9 win team.
Well, if you remember, Cliff Kingsbury was all about the shotgun, and their running game was almost non-existent at that point there last year. So now they bring in Blah, who is a Sean McVay disciple. They also brought in Rachaad White, I think, also to not only catch passes out of the backfield, but to add a little more protection here. Because I think you're going to see Jaden Daniels on the center a lot more this year than you've seen him with the Cliff Kingsbury offense. I thought, what was it, Ja'Cory Merritt last year? I thought that kid ran hard for Washington. But I think it's they spent a lot on the offensive line in the offseason, which is exactly what they should have done. But Terry McLaurin is your number one. Van Jefferson, Traylon Burks, who I didn't, came out of Arkansas. I didn't like him then either. But is that enough? Tight end, okay. I don't. To me, that's the whole thing, right? Win total 7.5. What are they? 8.5?
7.5. Yeah, no, they're right there with the Giants, basically priced the same.
To me, will Jaden Daniels, new philosophy now, another new OC. Are you going to be able to protect him? Are those wide receivers enough? Are they going to be able to run the ball? I think they'll be better defensively, but I have less confidence in the Commanders winning 8 games than I do the Giants. I think the Giants will have a shot at 8 games, but I think Harbaugh is a better coach than Dan Quinn. So I think you'll have those guys ready. So overall, Art, what's your favorite play in the NFC East here?
I think if I'm looking at my favorite play, I don't want to be a homer, but I think the Giants will go at least 8-9, so Giants over.
I can't argue with that. The schedule's favorable. I think if Harbaugh puts it together there, keeps Jackson Dart up, I like that there. I think Dallas wins the division. I think Dallas will be your NFC East champions this year. I think that's the way I would look. I do not trust Sirianni, Philadelphia. I do not trust it at all here. I think you get a little older on that offensive line. That's a problem. And Jalen Hurts, still don't know. I think the jury's out. Yeah. Give me Dallas to win the NFC East, Art. I think that is the best way to look at it there. All right.
It's a nice price too, Joe. Almost 2-1. So
that's what I mean.
Can't hate on that. Yeah. Can't hate on that.
Yep. I mean, everyone's going to run for Philly. I think Dallas, this could be the year. I think they certainly, with that offense, give at least that defense time to gel and figure it out. I think I like their win total over, and I like the division for sure. All right, let's talk some college football here, Art. We talked some win totals yesterday. I believe you talked about Kentucky and what an absolute train wreck they're going to be next year, and I agree with you. What about today? Which team you focusing on a win total?
We're going to be positive today. We're going to say a team will go over their win total, and the team I'm going to talk about is Penn State. It's interesting. The market's pretty split on their win total. There's a lot of 9.5s out there, but there's also still a lot of 8.5s out there. Now, at Circa right now, they're 8.5 minus 160 to the over. Pretty big juice to pay, but you look at this team. First of all, obviously the Iowa State connection. Campbell and all their boys come over, about 13 or 14 starters for Penn State now from Iowa State. The quarterback's going to be there, Rocco Beck, which I think he's a gamer. I like him. Obviously a step up in competition going from the Big 12 to the Big 10, but to me, it's all about their schedule. You look at their out of conference, Temple, Buffalo, Marshall. They should be 5-0 with Wisconsin and Northwestern going into basically their toughest little stretch, which is going to be USC at home, and then their hardest game, which is at Michigan. But even when you look at that Michigan game, like the game of the year lines, Michigan's only a 6.5-point favorite in that game. So it's not like they're a 3-touchdown favorite in the game. They could go to Michigan and win that game. I don't think Michigan's that great. So the schedule really sets up for Penn State to win 9 or 10 games. So if you can find an 8.5 out there, and there still are some out there, look for Penn State over.
Like it. Penn State, man. Go Penn State. Ready for a little bounce back situation here. To that Happy Valley. Oh, worst place in the world to try to drive to. Absolutely terrible. All right, Art, I am going to go out west. And I got to tell you, if we learned anything from Curt Cignetti last year at Indiana, is that, yeah, coaching matters in college football. You can take all of the NIL and the pay for play and all. Yeah, that's great. But coaching ultimately matters, and Cignetti showed why that is. Now, let me present to you Bob Chesney, who you may recall also, like Curt Cignetti, comes from this program who was pretty, James Madison. Yeah, remember that? He's only gone, I believe, 132-52 in his career as a head coach here. Came from also prior to that, I believe he was at Holy Cross, and he ended up taking that disaster of a team, and they finished, one of the top teams in the Patriot League. Coaching matters. And by the way, he's basically copied the same blueprint Cignetti took to Indiana, and he is doing exactly the same thing here for UCLA. He took the entire James Madison staff that he had. He brought, I believe, 10 guys with him on the team as well. He is also, top 25 in transfer class. He's got 42 players here that have plenty of experience already on UCLA's roster that stayed there. So call me nuts here, Art. You got the right coach with the right formula, the right coaching staff, and bringing in all sorts of players here. And don't forget, UCLA has a quarterback. Even though Nico there didn't work out well at Tennessee, he actually came a long way. UCLA was a mess last year, Art, if you remember. I think, without a doubt, I think they were 6.5 win totals. Nobody's expecting a lot from UCLA, and I think that's a mistake. Because I think this guy is the real deal, much like Cignetti, and I think he's got the right players who want to play. I think UCLA is poised to have a monster year. And here's another one, Art. They were 3-9 last year. I think they can get 8 or 9 wins this year. I think they'll win more games than USC. How's that?
Well, I don't hate that. Now, get back to Nico as the quarterback. You remember when he was at Tennessee, he was the next guy. And then obviously a lot of weird stuff went on with his transfer and all that type of stuff. Maybe now that he's a couple of years removed from that, he can just focus on football and be back to being a good player. And that's what it's all about. And you're right, coaching. That's why I like Penn State. I love Campbell. It's all about coaching. Guys who just go and win everywhere, come from winning pedigree, come from programs. Like you said, Cignetti built up at Indiana, James Madison, all those type of stuff. That is what wins in college football.
Well, it's funny, and he only has to play Oregon this year. He doesn't play Ohio State. He doesn't play Indiana. And he's got, I think, Nevada, San Diego State, and Cal on the schedule. Yeah, they're going bowling if there's even a bowl game left. But I think they got 8-9 wins written all over it with UCLA this year. So there you got it. Couple of college football win totals. Good to talk football again. Can't wait. It'll be here before you know it. Week 0, a couple of weeks away. How cool is that? In the meantime, Art, we got plenty of Major League Baseball here. We'll start with the rundown. We'll do it roundtable like we usually do. And it's going to start today. Angels at the Orioles. The Orioles have punted on the season. The Angels punted 8 years ago. Let's just say both teams can score some runs at Camden. I'll look at the over. The Reds at the Athletics. Brady Singer for the Reds. The Athletics with Ginn on the mound. I don't know if I still can trust both these offenses to score. Art, what are you thinking?
I would lean the Reds. The A's are awful. Every time I think, hey, this is the time I want to back the A's, they just get annihilated, and this will happen again. The A's are, you can make a case they're the worst team in the league right now.
Guardians at the Mets. Cantillo against Listen, Mets, season's over. Give me the Guardians at that price point. Nationals and the Phillies here. Luzardo, and it's an opener now, by the way, for the Nats. Palmquist will open up for Zach Lytle here, but the Phillies almost a $3 favorite, Art.
Yeah, it's hard to even play this game. Maybe you would look for a huge alternate run line, maybe Phillies 2.5. Even though the Nationals have been really good on the road, maybe you look for them to, go over their team total, Brian Power special. Who knows? It's hard to bet this type of game.
10 home runs last night in the Bronx combined. Yankees, Weathers on the mound. All he does is put up goose eggs and his team can't score. Dobbins, who's actually been pretty decent. He used to be with the Red Sox, and he's had some success against the Yankees. But they're $2 favorite again here, the Yankees. Art, what are we doing?
I thought the Cardinals were dead. I still think they're dead, but hard to lay a big number with the Yankees right now. Maybe you look for an over again. Maybe you take the Cardinals plus 1.5. There's just not a lot for me right now to want to back the Yankees at that type of price.
Well, Red Sox winning no matter what, even if they send Patrick Sandoval to the mound. Davis Martin for the White Sox. Minus 130 for the Red Sox here, Art. I think runs are coming in that game there. I think the Marlins are going to be interesting here with the Braves. Holmes against Gusto. What are we getting runs here?
We could be, and it looks like maybe the Marlins have, kind of figured out their path. What they lose 12 or 13 in a row.
Yep.
Now they're winning again, right back in the thick of the wild card. I get that the public will be all over the Braves today. Even the Sharps are on the Braves, as I mentioned in the Sharp report, but I don't hate taking a shot with the Marlins at a plus price.
Twins, Royals, Joe Ryan on the mound for the Twins. They are buyers. The Royals didn't sell nearly enough, but it feels like the Twins are the right side here. Art. Pirates and the Brewers, round 2. What are you thinking? I like Milwaukee. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. They lost yesterday. This is the time to back Milwaukee off a loss. Pretty good price too. It's not like you're paying an enormous price here for a team at home. All kind of in, not a must win, but a bounce back win here for them.
Skubal taking on Assad. Cubs, Dodgers, game 2 of that series. What do you think? Skubal a winner tonight?
He probably is, and they're going to back the hell out of him. They're going to take the Dodgers every which way, run line, first 5, especially first 5. They'll be on Skubal first 5 today.
Padres, Diamondbacks, Art. Chase Field. What are you thinking here, round 2? Arizona strikes first. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. He just keeps winning games. It's amazing.
He does, and I've never liked this Padre team, even though I said they could be a long shot. I still think they're going to fall off a cliff here, so I'm with you. The Diamondbacks are the play.
All right, and then, of course, the Rays welcome in Freddie Peralta, taking on the Rockies. 1,000 runs scored last night. What do we get tonight, Art?
Yeah, probably more runs and probably another Rays win. The Rays beat up on bad teams. That's what they do.
There you go. That'll do it, guys. Your MLB rundown here today. Great stuff. Art and I will be back again tomorrow here. We'll talk about another, I believe, AFC this time. We'll talk about AFC South, if I'm not mistaken, is what is up next here. We'll talk some more college football win totals. And, of course, we'll have the parlay of the day, all the updated predictive markets, the fun stuff, Art. But it is $5 Tuesday. All best bets, $5 at WagerTalk.com. Go grab yours and then make plans. Come back and see us for another Prez Free Zone tomorrow here on the best betting show ever. We'll see you. Enjoy the games.